So we just got out of
The Conjuring.
The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, better known as The Conjuring 3 or The Conjuring 9, whatever you want to call it, depending on if you look at Annabelle and the Nun
all the Conjuring
and
universe
The
movies.
Curse of Lularoe or whatever that movie's called.
La Llorona, which the director of that directed this, if I'm not mistaken.
You can tell.
So the
theaters are definitely not directed by James Wan. Let's put it that way.
Theaters are back and hopping.
We're going to get a glare.
Got a good night for high schoolers to come in and just socialize, have a good time.
Have a good time.
Talk during the movie. Talk during the movie.
Talk during the movie. Make everybody absolutely freaking miserable.
There's one thing I didn't miss during the pandemic. It was coming to watch horror movies like this.
A PG-13 horror movie.
Usually we'd be able to catch it on a Thursday, but with the HBO Max same-day release, screw
that. Go screw that up
on a Friday night. So I think we're going to try and avoid that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that
because
anymore.
I like the Thursday screening, earlier screenings, because not as many people come. So
you know what? I think what we're going to start doing, honestly, if we have to do a Friday night showing, we're going to do the latest showing possible on some nights.
Maybe. It just depends on, it doesn't get much worse than a movie like that with that kind of audience, I think. It attracts that kind of audience. This brand of horror, which leads me to my next thing. This brand of horror is dead in the water to me. Listen. And this movie, to me, solidifies that. You know what? I wish I had a notepad during that movie, because I had a list of so many things that I think I don't know, maybe I'm speaking too soon, but I think that I hated this movie, actually. And here's the biggest problem. James Wan's absence as a director is so visible.
Is so noticeable.
Because you know what? The Vera Farmiga thing, where she has visions or whatever, you know what? It's always been very, very stupid. It's always been stupid. It delves into insidious territory. But with this movie, there's not the amazing direction. There's not the amazing direction to mask that stupidity. So whenever this movie decides, you know what, we're going to double down on that and make the majority of the movie about that particular thing with Vera Farmiga's character, you're like, oh my god, has the Conjuring been stupid all along?
Here's the problem with the film. The film at the very beginning of it, you were talking direction. I want to talk script. I want to talk script and direction of said script falls a little bit into this. The movie, here's the thing about, because me and Nancy just watched The Conjuring 2 Wednesday. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing about The Conjuring 2. The sub-characters in The Conjuring 2 are on screen more than Ed and Lorraine in that movie until the last act.
And they're amazing.
And they're great. This movie don't got that. This movie don't have that at all.
This movie is so focused on wanting to scare you that it loses any sort of characterization, any sort of depth. There's nothing to latch on to, I don't think.
But the problem is that this movie's not scary.
The movie's not scary at all.
This movie's not scary.
There's not one scary part.
Listen, there are times...
It's crazy how unscary it is.
If you've seen The Conjuring 2, there is one bad part in that movie, and it's the crooked man. That's the only bad part in that movie.
And in a movie like this, I was begging for the crooked man.
I
was like, where's the nun? Where's the crooked man?
Listen. This movie... Can I break down my movie going experience?
As long as I can after you.
Oh, baby, you got all the time in the world. Listen, this movie, the first 30 minutes of this movie, I was like, okay, let's see where we're going. Let's see what we're going to do. And then it proceeds to go to every single horror movie trope of the last 10 years that doesn't work. This movie is literally, feels like to me, a A-list casted Devil Inside.
If you want to count Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga's A-list, I'd say they're more...
For this movie,
I'd say they're more B+.
But for these movies, though...
Sure, yeah.
When they're on screen in the first two movies, they're fantastic.
It reminded me a lot of The Devil. Honestly, some of the marketing in this movie reminded me of The Devil Inside. Where it's like if you have such a... No, was that The Devil Inside, or was that The Last Exorcism, where the marketing tagline was like, well, if you believe in God, you must believe in the devil? That might have been The Last Exorcism, actually.
It was one of them.
Which, I'm not trying to slight Last Exorcism. I like The Last Exorcism.
Yeah, that movie's good.
But yeah, a little bit of Devil Inside, too.
The problem with this film is that it literally does every single couple movie, horror movie trope. Explain?
Yeah, explain. A couple. Which couple are we talking about? Ed and Lorraine?
Yes,
or, okay.
talking about Ed and Lorraine.
Okay.
It's literally... I don't want... Because that would be such a spoiler in the movie, and I can't spoil a movie. Yeah, but listen, if you watch and pay attention to the last 15 minutes of the movie, it's literally a horror movie trope of couples.
Listen.
It's literally a horror movie trope of couples, and... This movie is an hour and 53 minutes. An hour and 53 minutes. Around the hour 15 mark, before we get right before we get into the third act of this movie, I was this close of being asleep.
Dude, I almost fell asleep.
I was
the whole movie.
And it's sad because dude, like I just said, we watched the second Conjuring movie the other night, and I'm sitting there going, man, this movie still holds up. This movie's good. This movie's so good. And I'm sitting there like, this is one of the best horror movies of the last 10 years. I'm sitting there and watching it. I'm like, yeah, this is good. It's still good. Holds up. Except for the Crooked Man. It's good. It holds up. And you watch this and it's just like, what happened? Did we get too much into the spin-offs in between then to just be like, I think those work?
This felt more like a spin-off than a Conjuring movie.
It did. And that's the problem. Annabelle's not good. It's not good.
And
The Nun is not good. I don't have to watch them to know they're not good. It's a consensus. They're not good.
No, The Nun is not good.
The Nun is not good. You've seen The Nun.
I've seen The Nun.
It's not
bad.
good. The Curse of LuLaRoe, or whatever that daggone movie is.
La Llorona.
It's called, you know what? It doesn't deserve to be called that movie. It doesn't deserve to be called that movie. That movie is the lowest rated movie of this whole entire series.
Either that or the first Annabelle.
It's the lowest rated movie of the whole entire series, and this movie here...
I don't understand how it's got a 63.
I don't understand how it's 63. It should be a lot lower than that.
I think people have such an affection for the Conjuring movies that they're giving it a pass. And
I've
always said that Annabelle... I don't really like Annabelle Creation. Some people do, but I'm telling you, Annabelle Creation, to me, is quite a bit better than this movie. Because there's one thing that this movie's lacking, and it ties into the horror tropes, is that you can have those horror tropes, because the first Conjuring movies technically have horror tropes. They have the jump scares.
Right.
But
that's a horror movie. It's going to have them, even though I hate them.
Whenever you have good characters, a good visual style, honestly pretty effective jump scares as well, good music, and just an overall story that you can get connected to. And this is exactly why The Conjuring 2 holds up. It earns that 2 hour. It earns that 2 hour and 20 minute runtime. It does. It does with I think genuine emotion and innovative filmmaking, like very subtle scares that stay on scenes for a very long time that are scary. This movie has none of that, and I think that the actual concept of the movie of a guy killing someone and not being in his mind or being possessed or something. The idea of that is cool.
It's an idea is cool.
But they drench it with demon possession. I'm like, you know what? This is stupid. This is really, really stupid.
This is also another problem that I have with this movie, is the fact that when we get to the middle of the second act and we start to figure out what's going on and all that, we don't breathe on it. We are off to the races. From one scene to the next, it's like, well, here's the mystery. We need to solve this mystery. Oh, mystery solved. Mystery solved. We know what's going on.
And I'll tell you what.
Why?
The big bad in this movie, or the demon or whatever, is so bad.
Oh God.
Very bad. There's nothing to it. You know how I rag on the Nun. The Nun.
I'd rather have the Nun back.
The Nun as a villain is honestly so much better, because at least there's style to it. This has nothing.
No. What it is?
There's no style to this.
No, there's no style. It's not a style thing. It's substance. This movie has no substance.
It has no style or substance.
It has no. It has no feeling of. I hate to say this. It's a cash grab movie. It is a cash grab movie.
It's a cash grab movie that somehow, as a third movie in a franchise that should cost the most, it feels substantially the cheapest.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's not shot beautifully.
The lighting
either. It's awful. It's so dark for no reason.
Is it 80% of this movie in the dark?
Yeah. It's like
gosh,
I literally believe they went onto a soundstage and was like, okay, let's just turn the lights down. Let's
God,
put something
so
spooky.
bad.
Let's put something spooky in the middle of the set. Let's turn the lights down.
And that makes it
turn
way
the lights
more
down.
boring. Like, I was wondering, because I biked today. I biked 10 miles. But I also biked when we watched The Quiet Place, and I never got tired, or I was never, like, not invested. So I thought about that. I was like, am I just tired from biking? I was like, no, this movie is shot terribly. It's lit terribly. It's unengaging. And that's why I feel tired.
Here's the thing.
Because it's not pulling me in.
The thing about it is, too, is that the second... And I hate to go back to the second movie.
You have
That's
to.
the most recent one you've watched. Yeah. And that's the prequel.
It's part of the franchise.
Yeah, it's the previous one. Like, that movie is set in the daylight. It's set in the dark. It's set in, like, pitch black. Yeah. It's set in a basement. It's set in all of this stuff. And my God, that movie is like Schindler's List compared to this
Godfather,
movie. It's the Godfather horror movies. You know, it's
compared
like...
to this, yeah.
And let me... Y'all, listen. When a character comes on the screen, and he's a pretty well-known actor. He's a pretty well-known actor, and you can just sit there and go, yeah, that's probably...
This is going to tie into
This is going to tie into something.
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah, definitely.
You're sitting there, and I'm just like...
No matter how stupid it ties in, you know it's going to tie.
Like, you know who I'm talking about.
Well, there's only 3 big names in this movie, so yeah.
I know, but and the thing of it is, too...
I don't even know that guy's name, but yeah, I recognize him. Like, this guy's a kind of a big actor.
The reveal, oh my God, I don't want to spoil it, but it's like, holy God. Yeah, saw that coming a mile of freaking way. That, like, at least with the second and the first movie, you had a sort of suspense moment to the reveal of things. This movie is just schlock all the way through. It's not even campy. It's not, and like, it's bad.
It's a bad movie.
It's so bad. It's such a letdown, man.
I was hoping you wasn't gonna like it, because as I was watching this, I was like, man, I hope Josh doesn't like it, because I know I don't.
God,
I
dude. Like, I swear to you, like, we get an hour into this movie, and I'm sitting here going, oh man, this needs to end. Like,
I couldn't wait for this movie to end.
God,
honestly,
I was like,
please end.
Jesus Christ, this movie, like. I'm so glad we had Quiet Place last week.
Me too.
So glad, because if this would have been the first movie we'd come back on, I would have been...
You know what? This is a good case for the HBO same-day release.
Yeah. They knew what they were up to with this one. They were like, no, we don't want
to... Final thoughts for me.
Oh, my God.
Is that not even on a horror level, just on a strict filmmaking level, the score is bad. Like, it's a really, really bad musical score. Like, thank God they play a couple of, like, songs that are pretty good, because the score is terrible. Like, it's like every horror cliche you can imagine.
Yeah.
The acting...
That's what they should have called this movie. The Conjuring, the movie cliche, or the horror cliche.
The acting isn't that great, because when Vera Farmiga delves into her visions, it makes for some bad, rough acting that is kind of laughable to me. I don't know for anybody else, but that's the way I see it. The script is bad.
It's awful.
Bad.
God, it's so
the direction, bland, uninspired.
Yep.
Lighting is bad. Like, so as a whole...
Cinematography, not good.
As a whole, movie's just not very good.
It's not.
I give this movie... I give it a D+. I give it which is almost like about what I gave The Nun.
Woo!
I gave The Nun a D+ just because the plus for
the plus just
cross,
has to be there.
No, for a cross.
Oh.
In retrospect, The Nun is more like a D-. The Nun is still the worst movie I've seen in this franchise. But
worse than
at least
LuLaRoe?
I didn't watch La Llorona, dude.
Okay.
I don't watch... Listen...
Can we just call this review LuLaRona?
I felt obligated to watch The Nun, and I don't know why I felt obligated, but I watched The Nun.
That's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go home and watch The Nun.
I don't advise it, but at least it does have atmosphere. This does not. Not a good movie. I do not recommend. It tarnishes the it tarnishes the trequel.
The trequel?
The trequel. The trequel. No, it tarnishes the trilogy. I was about to say it again. The trilogy, in a sense. What's your final?
It's a D. It's borderline. I don't even skip. It's borderline F to me. This movie is trash. It's so bad. And it's so disheartening. I hope this is the last one of the series.
Me too. You know, back in the...
You know, there's a sophomore slump, and this is just I can't even think. There's no sophomore. There's nothing for junior, because you should have it in the bag by the time you get to the third one. Unfortunately, this movie doesn't.
You know, after The Conjuring 2, I heard like rumors of like how The Conjuring 3 was going to be about werewolves. I'm like, that's stupid. But in retrospect, I would have preferred that. I would have preferred werewolves over this nothing villain demon thing that we had.
Who was the guy that played the werewolf in Twilight? What was his name? Thank you, Nancy. Taylor Lautner. I wish he would have showed up.
I was going to be like, Jacob? I could think of his name.
Yeah, I wish he would have showed up, because then maybe the movie would have been just a little bit better.
Not a good movie.
You know, no, I'm going... Screw this. This movie's getting an F for me. It's an F. The more I sit and think about it, this is a movie that I'm never going to watch again. It's a movie that if I ever tell anybody, like, oh yeah, what's some of the best horror movies you've seen, like big budget horror movies of the last 15 years, I'm going to be like, yeah, watch The Conjuring 1 and 2. Do not watch the third one, or it will literally spoil the other two movies for you. And this movie has. Like, it's tarnished the trilogy to me. This movie is bad. It's an F for me. I mean,
I wish it didn't exist within the trilogy.
Yes.
Because I think The Conjuring 2 ends like beautifully, actually.
Excuse my language, really Mama. But this movie irritates me. It irritates me.
That's our thoughts on this movie. Not good.
Not good. It's not.
I'd say only watch it if you're like so dedicated to this unit. Not just the Conjuring movies.
What else came out this week?
That Spirit
remake. Go watch Spirit.
Only if you're so dedicated. If you liked all three Annabelle movies, you thought The Nun was awesome.
There's 3 of them?
Yeah, there's 3. I haven't watched the third one. I've actually heard the third one's the best Annabelle movie, so I'll probably watch it eventually.
I didn't have any idea there was 3 of them. I thought there was just 2.
I heard the third one's kind of fun.
Wow.
Which this has none of. Well, let me know, because like I said, this guy's 63 on Rotten Tomatoes, so somebody's liking it. It's not us, though.
They're being paid.
Let us know what you thought, because I think this will be a really, really, really divisive movie.
Critical integrity.
This will be a divisive one, and we're at the bottom end of it.
We're very at the bottom end of it.
So I want my money back. Let us know what you thought of this. I truly want to know. I want to know. I want to know why, if you liked it, I want to know what you thought was good about it. I truly do.
I
really do. Not to criticize you. I just want to know if you saw something that I didn't see. So let us know in the comment section. Please hit the subscribe button, and thank you for watching.